My beloved child, hold still. Yes, you. This is not an accident. This is not random. This is not just another message passing through your ears. I am speaking to you now because your heart has been racing, your thoughts have been spiraling, and your hands have been reaching for answers that are not yet meant to be grasped. Pause. Breathe. Listen. You have been moving quickly, haven't you? Trying to fix what feels broken. Trying to solve what feels urgent. Trying to escape what feels uncomfortable. The pressure around you has been loud. Decisions feel heavy. The future feels uncertain. And deep inside, there is a question echoing. What should I do right now? My child, before you take another step, before you send that message, before you make that choice, I am asking you to do something that feels unnatural in this moment. I am asking you to hold still. This demands your attention because what happens next in your life will not be shaped by panic but by trust. There is a shift occurring, one you cannot yet see. Like the quiet turning of seasons beneath frozen ground, something is moving beneath the surface. If you rush now, you may disrupt what I am carefully arranging for your good. If you force what is not ready, you may miss the beauty of what is perfectly timed. I see the restlessness in you. I see the nights when your mind refuses to rest. I see how you replay conversations, analyze possibilities, and prepare for outcomes that have not even arrived. You believe movement equals progress. You believe action equals control. But sometimes, stillness is the most powerful step of faith you can take. My beloved child, I am not asking you to hold still to punish you. I am not silencing you to ignore you. I am calling you into stillness because I am protecting you. There are things aligning in ways you cannot comprehend yet. There are doors I am closing quietly so you do not walk into harm. There are hearts I am softening. There are paths I am clearing. Right now, urgency feels real. The need to act feels overwhelming. But I tell you with love and authority, not every urgency is from me. Some urgency is born from fear. Some pressure is born from doubt. My voice does not shove you forward in anxiety. My voice anchors you in peace. So I am interrupting your momentum today. I am stepping into your noise and saying gently but firmly, hold still. Let this moment sink deep into your spirit. This is a divine pause. This is a sacred interruption. This is me, your Father, asking for your full attention. Because what I am about to do requires your trust more than your effort. And in the stillness, you will begin to see that I have been in control all along. My beloved child, the chaos around you is not an accident. The pressure you feel, the shifting ground beneath your plans, the unexpected turns that have unsettled your heart, none of it has slipped past my sight. You may look at your circumstances and see disorder. You may look at the delays, the conflicts, the unanswered questions, and assume something has gone wrong. But I tell you gently and firmly, nothing is out of my control. You have been standing in the middle of what feels like a storm. Voices pulling you in different directions. Responsibilities stacking higher than your strength. Emotions rising and falling like waves you cannot tame. At times, you have wondered if you missed a sign, if you made a mistake, if this turbulence is somehow your fault. Let that weight fall from your shoulders now. I am not surprised by this season. I am present in it. Consider a storm at sea. When winds roar and waves crash, it appears as if destruction is inevitable. But beneath the surface, deeper currents are steady and unmoved. The surface may be loud, but the depths remain calm. My beloved, I dwell in the depths. While your eyes are fixed on the crashing waves, I am governing the currents below. The chaos is not proof that I have abandoned you. It is not a sign that your life is unraveling beyond repair. Sometimes, what feels like disruption is actually divine rearrangement. I allow certain winds to blow so that what is weak can be revealed. I allow certain shaking so that unstable foundations can crumble before they collapse later under greater weight. This is not cruelty. This is protection. You see confusion. I see alignment forming. You feel pressure. I am building resilience within you. You feel surrounded by uncertainty. I am teaching you to anchor yourself in me rather than in outcomes. My beloved child, you are growing in ways you cannot measure yet. Just as gold is refined by fire, your heart is being strengthened in this very moment. Not to break you, but to prepare you. Not to exhaust you, but to deepen you. The chaos has drawn your attention to your limits. It has shown you how fragile control can be. And in that realization, you are being invited into something greater. Trust. Stillness in the middle of chaos is not denial. It is confidence. When I ask you to hold still, I am not ignoring the storm. I am teaching you how to stand within it without being consumed by it. I am teaching you that peace is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of my assurance. You may have been tempted to respond quickly, to fix, to confront, to escape. You may have felt the urge to send the message, make the call, quit the job, walk away, or force an answer. The energy of chaos demands immediate reaction. But I am inviting you into something higher than reaction. I am inviting you into revelation. Because when you rush in panic, you move ahead of my timing. And when you move ahead of my timing, you carried burdens I never asked you to bear. My beloved, I do not rush. I am not anxious. I am not pacing the heavens wondering what will happen next. I already see the end from the beginning. What feels urgent to you is already accounted for in my plan. The noise you hear is temporary. The shaking you feel is purposeful. And the stillness I am calling you into is your shelter. Imagine a child caught in heavy rain, running wildly in every direction, trying to escape the downpour. The more the child runs, the more exhausted and drenched they become. But when the child finally runs into the arms of their father, they are lifted above the puddles. They are covered. They are carried. My beloved child, that is what I am offering you now. Do not mistake movement for safety. Safety is found in me. Do not mistake busyness for wisdom. Wisdom begins with listening. The chaos around you is not proof that you are failing. It is the backdrop against which my faithfulness will become clearer. And when this season passes, and it will pass, you will look back and see that I was steady when everything else felt unstable. So let the winds blow for a moment longer. Let the waves crash without pulling you under. Anchor yourself in my voice. Hold still, not because nothing is happening, but because I am handling what you cannot. You are not alone in this storm. I am closer than the breath in your lungs. And while the world around you may feel loud and uncertain, my hands remain steady over your life. My beloved child, I know it feels unnatural to pause when everything around you seems to demand movement. Your instincts tell you to act, to respond, to solve, to secure. You have been taught that progress comes from constant motion, that success belongs to the swift, that silence is weakness. But I am asking you to pause because there is a difference between movement and direction. There is a difference between activity and alignment. When I tell you to hold still, it is not because I want you stuck. It is because I want you positioned. There are moments in life when rushing forward feels brave, but it is actually driven by fear. fear of missing out, fear of losing control, fear of being left behind. Fear whispers that if you do not act now, you will lose your chance forever. But my voice does not shout in panic. My voice settles you. My voice gives you space to breathe. My voice reminds you that what is meant for you cannot be stolen by delay. Imagine standing beside a rushing river after heavy rain. The waters are wild, churning, carrying debris, strong enough to sweep away anything that steps in too soon. If you tried to cross at that moment, you would be knocked off your feet. But if you wait, if you allow the waters to settle, clarity returns. The current slows. The stones beneath the surface become visible again. Then you can step safely, wisely, with confidence. My beloved, some of the decisions before you are like that river. Right now, the emotions are too stirred. The pressure is too intense. You cannot see clearly yet. Pause is not denial. Pause is preparation. You think you need immediate answers, but what you truly need is clear vision. And clear vision comes when your heart is no longer reacting to every wave of emotion. I am calming your inner waters so you can see the path I have already prepared. There is timing woven into everything I do. Seeds do not sprout the day they are planted. Fruit does not ripen the moment it appears. Even the dawn does not burst into full light without passing through the quiet gray of early morning. Would you pull a seed from the soil because you are impatient? Would you pluck fruit before it is sweet? If you do, you disrupt the very process that guarantees its fullness. In the same way, if you act before my timing, you may grasp something incomplete. You may enter a conversation before hearts are softened. You may accept an opportunity before it is stable. You may close a door that I intended to open wider with time. My beloved child, I see further than you. I see the ripple effects of choices before they unfold. When I ask you to pause, it is because I am adjusting details you cannot yet perceive. There are conversations happening that you cannot hear. There are circumstances shifting that you cannot see. There are hearts being prepared in ways you cannot measure. You may feel uncomfortable in this stillness. Your mind may resist it. You may question whether waiting means weakness. But listen closely. Waiting with me is never weakness. It is partnership. It is trust. It is strength under control. The warrior who charges without instruction endangers the entire battle. But a warrior who stands firm, waiting the signal, moves with precision and power. I am training you not just to move, but to move wisely. Not just to act, but to act at the right time. This pause is shaping your discernment. It is refining your motive. It is teaching you to listen more deeply than before. You are learning to distinguish between fear-driven urgency and spirit-led direction. My beloved, I am not withholding good from you. I am preserving it. I am not delaying your blessing. I am perfecting it. If I allowed you to rush into what you desire right now, you might settle for less than what I intend to give. So rest your restless thoughts in me. Let the need to control fall away. Let the silence stretch without filling it with anxious plans. I am not idle. I am intentional. Hold still, not because nothing is happening, but because something sacred is unfolding. And when the moment to move arrives, you will not have to force it. The path will open with clarity. The peace will confirm it. And you will know that your pause was never wasted. My beloved child, there is more happening around you than your eyes can perceive. While you measure life by what you can touch, hear, and calculate, there is a hidden battle unfolding beyond your natural sight. And I do not tell you this to alarm you, but to comfort you. Because you are not fighting this battle alone. In fact, There are battles you were never meant to fight at all. You have been trying to solve everything with your own strength. You analyze. You strategize. You replay scenarios in your mind as if you could control every outcome by sheer determination. But there are forces at work that cannot be managed by human effort. There are spiritual currents shaping circumstances, opening doors, closing others, redirecting paths, softening hearts, and restraining dangers you do not even know existed. Imagine a garden in early spring. Above the soil, it appears quiet, almost lifeless. Nothing seems to be happening. If you judged by sight alone, you might assume the ground is barren. But beneath the surface, roots are stretching deeper. Seeds are breaking open. Life is forming in darkness before it ever reaches the light. My beloved, much of what I do in your life begins beneath the surface. You may interpret silence as absence. You may mistake delay for neglect. But silence is often the sound of unseen work. While you wait, I am reinforcing foundations. While you wonder, I am adjusting outcomes. While you fear that nothing is moving, I am positioning people, shifting circumstances, and guarding you from unseen harm. There are conversations I have interrupted on your behalf. There are plans formed against you that I have dismantled quietly. There are disappointments that spared you from deeper pain. You see closed doors and feel rejection. I see danger avoided and futures protected. My beloved child, if I allowed you to see every hidden battle, it would overwhelm you. If you knew every detail of what I shield you from daily, your heart would tremble. So I cover you not only with protection, but with peace. I allow you to rest without knowing the full extent of my defense. You may ask, if you are fighting for me, why does it still feel hard? Because growth still requires endurance. Because character is strengthened through trust. Because even in protection, you are learning to rely on me rather than your own understanding. Think of a child walking beside a father through a dark forest. The child sees only shadows and hears unfamiliar sounds. The father, however, sees the full path. He hears threats before they approach. He stands between the child and danger without announcing every risk. The child may still feel afraid at times, but the father's presence ensures safety. My beloved, I am that father walking beside you. This hidden battle is not a sign that you are losing. It is evidence that your life carries purpose. What has meaning will always face resistance. What carries destiny will always require protection. And I am more than capable. When I ask you to hold still, it is because stepping forward in haste could place you in the middle of something I am still resolving. If you move too soon, you may entangle yourself in conflicts I am dismantling on your behalf. Stillness allows me to finish what you cannot see. You do not need to fight for validation. I am your defender. You do not need to manipulate outcomes. I am your strategist. You do not need to panic over threats. I am your shield. Rest in this truth. I am actively involved in every detail of your life. Not passively observing, but intentionally intervening. Not distant, but deeply present. There are victories unfolding that you will never fully know about. There are storms that dissolved before reaching you. There are traps that failed before you stepped near them. And one day, when you look back, you will see patterns of protection woven through seasons you once questioned. So release the burden of unseen warfare. It does not belong on your shoulders. Stand firm in stillness, not because there is no battle, but because I am the one fighting it. You are covered. You are guarded. You are defended. And even when you cannot see what I am doing, I am working faithfully for you. My beloved child, fear has been whispering to you. It hath been subtle at times, loud at others. It does not always announce itself as fear. Sometimes it disguises itself as wisdom. Sometimes it calls itself logic. Sometimes it sounds like urgency. But listen closely to the tone of it. Fear always pushes. Fear always rushes. Fear always tells you that if you do not act now, something terrible will happen. Fear wants you to run. It wants you to escape discomfort before understanding it. It wants you to abandon what feels uncertain before trusting me within it. It wants you to grab control because waiting feels unbearable. But I am not the author of panic. My voice does not drive you with anxiety. My voice leads you with peace. Think of a small animal startled in the wild. At the slightest noise, it darts in any direction without thought. Sometimes it runs straight into greater danger simply because it reacted instead of discerning. Fear operates like that in your heart. It reacts first and reflects later. It convinces you that movement equals safety, even when that movement is misdirected. My beloved, how many times have you made decisions simply to quiet anxiety? How many times have you spoken words just to relieve tension? How many times have you stepped into situations not because I led you there, but because standing still felt too vulnerable? I do not ask these questions to shame you. I ask them so you can recognize the pattern. Fear promises relief, but it rarely delivers peace. You feel it in your body, the tightening in your chest, the racing thoughts, the restless need to fix everything at once. Fear magnifies possibilities until they look like inevitable disasters. It takes a small uncertainty and paints it as a permanent loss. It tells you if you wait, you will miss your chance. If you stay, you will be forgotten. If you do not act now, everything will fall apart. But fear does not see what I see. Fear cannot see the future I have already prepared. Fear cannot see the protection already in place. Fear cannot see the doors I am quietly opening while others close. My beloved child, when fear speaks loudly, it drowns out discernment. It makes every option look urgent. It blurs your vision until you cannot distinguish between what is necessary and what is impulsive. That is why I call you into stillness. Because stillness exposes fear. When you stop moving, when you stop reacting, when you sit quietly before me, fear begins to lose its power. In stillness, you start to notice the difference between my voice and the voice of anxiety. My voice is steady. It does not tremble. It does not offend. It does not rush you. Even when I instruct you to move, there is peace attached to it. There is clarity. There is a quiet assurance that settles deep within your spirit. Fear, however, feels frantic. It feels heavy. It feels like you must act to survive. You were not created to live in survival mode. You were created to live in trust. Imagine a child learning to swim. At first, the water feels overwhelming. Panic sets in, and the child thrashes wildly, using up all their strength. But when the child relaxes, when they trust the support beneath them, they begin to float. My beloved, fear makes you thrash. Trust allows you to float. I know the situations pressing against you. I know the unanswered questions. I know the deadlines and expectations. But I also know that reacting out of fear will not secure your future. It will only exhaust you. So when fear whispers, pause. When urgency surges, breathe. When anxiety tells you to run, listen for my voice instead. I am not in the panic. I am in the peace that follows surrender. You do not need to run from what feels uncertain. You do not need to outrun outcomes. You do not need to fix everything at once. I am your refuge. I am your stability. I am your defender. Fear may knock at your door, but you do not have to invite it inside. Let my peace answer instead. Hold still, my beloved child. Not because nothing matters, but because fear does not get to lead your life. I do. My beloved child, there is a tenderness in my voice when I speak to you about timing, because I have seen the sorrow that comes from moving too soon. I have watched you step ahead of peace, ahead of clarity, ahead of my gentle confirmation, simply because waiting felt unbearable. And I do not bring this to you with accusation. I bring it with wisdom, so you may understand why I ask you now to hold still. There is a difference between readiness and desire. You may desire something deeply, yet not be ready to sustain it. You may crave change, yet not be prepared for the responsibility it carries. When you move too soon, you often inherit weight you were not strengthened to bear. Imagine walking through an orchard and seeing fruit just beginning to form. It looks promising. It looks close to completion. But if you pluck it before its time, it will be sour, hard, unsatisfying. The sweetness comes from remaining on a branch until the right moment. The sun must warm it. The rain must nourish it. The slow, unseen process must complete its work. If you interfere too early, you interrupt the very process that ensures its goodness. My beloved, some of the prayers you have prayed are like that fruit. They are forming. They are growing. But if you rush to grasp them without my signal, you may taste disappointment instead of fulfillment. When you move too soon, you often act from emotion rather than discernment. You send words you cannot take back. You make commitments you later struggle to maintain. You walk into opportunities that shine brightly at first but lack foundation. You close doors out of frustration, only to realize later that patience would have revealed a different outcome. And then regret tries to settle in your heart. But hear me clearly. Even when you have moved too soon in the past, I have never abandoned you. I have redirected you. I have restored you. I have woven even your impulsive steps into a larger design of mercy. Yet how much lighter your journey becomes when you allow my timing to lead. There are seasons when stillness feels like stagnation. You fear that waiting will cause you to fall behind. You look around and see others advancing, moving, achieving. Comparison tempts you to hurry. But you do not see the full picture of their journey, and they do not see the careful craftsmanship of yours. If a builder pours the foundation before the ground is prepared, the structure will crack. If a musician rushes a melody, the harmony is lost. If a traveler leaves before the path is clear, they may wander unnecessarily. Timing is not restriction. It is alignment. My beloved child, I am not delaying your joy. I am deepening it. I am not withholding progress. I am securing it. If I allow you to move before the right moment, you may gain something quickly, but lose something greater in the process. Sometimes moving too soon entangles you in conflicts that were dissolving. Sometimes it exposes you to burdens that were about to be lifted. Sometimes it places you in environments that look promising but lack stability beneath the surface. You cannot always see the cracks. I can. You cannot always sense the hidden weakness. I can. You cannot always detect the incomplete preparation. I can. That is why I ask you to trust me in the pause. Stillness gives space for maturity to develop. It allows your character to strengthen, your motives to purify, your understanding to deepen. It ensures that when the moment to move finally arrives, you will step forward not with anxiety, but with assurance. And when it is time, you will know. There will be peace instead of pressure, clarity instead of confusion, confidence instead of panic. My beloved, delay is not denial. Waiting is not weakness. Holding still is not failure. It is faith expressed through restraint. So release the urge to force outcomes. Release the need to prove yourself through constant action. Release the fear that you will miss what is meant for you. What I have prepared for you cannot be stolen by patience, but it can be complicated by haste. Trust my timing. Let the fruit ripen. Let the foundation settle. Let the process complete its sacred work. And when I say move, you will step forward into something whole, something steady, something ready to sustain you. My beloved child, while you are standing in this pause, while you are learning to quiet your racing thoughts and steady your breathing, I am not inactive. I am not distant. I am not waiting idly for circumstances to correct themselves. I am reordering things for you. What feels like delay to you is often divine rearrangement. There are pieces in your life that have been slightly out of alignment. Relationships that needed adjusting. Opportunities that required refinement. Desires that needed purifying. Priorities that needed shifting. You could not see the misalignment clearly because you were standing too close to it. But I see the full design. I see how every piece fits together. And I care too much about your future to allow disorder to remain. Imagine a master weaver working on a tapestry. From the back side, the threads look tangled and chaotic. Colors overlap in ways that seem confusing. There are knots, loose strands, unexpected crossings. If you only saw that side, you might assume the design was flawed. But on the front, there is beauty, symmetry, purpose. Every thread has a reason. Every crossing serves the final image. Right now, you are looking at the underside of your tapestry. You see the knots. You see the confusion. You see the threads being pulled and shifted. But I am working from the front. I am adjusting details so that the picture forming in your life reflects something greater than you imagined. Some doors are closing not because you failed, but because they no longer align with where I am leading you. Some plans are unraveling not because you chose poorly, but because I am protecting you from settling for less. Some relationships are shifting because I am repositioning hearts and creating space for healthier connections. My beloved child, you interpret change as loss. I often see it as refinement. When I reorder things, it may feel uncomfortable. You grow attached to what is familiar. Even what causes you stress can feel safer than the unknown. But I do not reorder your life to destabilize you. I do it to strengthen you. I do it to simplify what has become cluttered. I do it to clear paths that were crowded with distraction. There are conversations happening behind scenes you cannot enter. There are decisions being made in rooms you cannot access. There are hearts I am quietly influencing. You may believe everything depends on your ability to control outcomes, but I am capable of shifting circumstances without your interference. You do not need to force what I am aligning. You do not need to chase what I am securing. You do not need to cling to what I am gently removing. Trust that what is truly meant for you will remain. If something slips away despite your effort, it is not because you lacked value. It is because it was not anchored in my design for your future. Reordering requires patience. When furniture is rearranged in a room, there is a moment of disruption. Things are moved out of place before they are positioned correctly. The space may look messy for a time, but once everything is set according to design, the room feels balanced and open. Your life is in that in-between stage. Some things have been moved. Others have not yet settled. It may look unfinished, but I am intentional in every shift. My beloved, I am aligning you with purpose. I am aligning you with provision. I'm aligning you with peace. What I am preparing for you requires certain pieces to be in place. It requires certain distractions to be removed. It requires certain delays to unfold exactly as they are. You may not see the final arrangement yet, but you can trust the one arranging it. Hold still not because nothing is changing, but because change is happening at a level deeper than your immediate awareness. Let me adjust the details. Let me position the threads. Let me reorder what feels out of control. In time, you will step back and see how every shift served your growth. You will recognize that what felt like loss was often liberation. You will understand that the pauses were preparation. I am not undoing your life. I am refining it. And when the reordering is complete, you will move forward into a season that feels lighter, clearer, and more aligned than before. My beloved child, I want you to understand something that the world rarely teaches. Stillness is strength. You have been told that strength is loud, visible, and constantly in motion. You have been taught that the strong are those who push harder, speak faster, act quicker, and never pause. But my kingdom does not measure strength the way the world does. True strength is controlled power. It is the ability to remain steady when everything inside you wants to react. It is the courage to stand firm when fear demands movement. It is the discipline to wait when impatience presses against your spirit. Think of a mighty warrior standing on a battlefield. The air is tense. The noise is overwhelming. Others may be rushing forward without strategy, driven by adrenaline and emotion. But the wise warrior stands still until the precise moment of instruction. That stillness is not weakness. It is readiness. It is confidence in leadership. It is trust in timing. My beloved, when you hold still because I have asked you to, you are not being passive. You are being powerful. There is strength in restraint. There is strength in silence. There is strength in refusing to let your emotions dictate your next move. Anyone can react. Not everyone can remain composed. Anyone can speak quickly. Not everyone can choose their words with wisdom. Anyone can run from discomfort. Not everyone can stay rooted and grow through it. Stillness builds endurance in you. It stretches your capacity to trust beyond what you can see. It teaches you to anchor yourself in something deeper than circumstances. It reveals how much of your past movement was driven by anxiety rather than direction. You may feel misunderstood in this season. Others may not see the internal discipline it takes to pause. They may interpret your stillness as indecision or weakness. But I see it clearly. I see the battle you fight within yourself every time you resist the urge to react impulsively. I see the strength it takes to surrender control, and I honor it. Consider the ocean. On the surface, waves rise and crash, but beneath, the depths remain calm and powerful. The ocean does not lose its strength because its surface is still. In fact, its depth is what gives it power. In the same way, when your spirit becomes steady, you gain depth. You become less shaken by external noise. You become less controlled by fleeting emotions. Stillness allows you to observe rather than assume. It allows you to listen rather than interrupt. It allows you to discern rather than react. In that space, wisdom grows. My beloved child, I am forming something resilient within you. The strength I build through stillness will sustain you in seasons that require action. If you cannot remain steady now, you may struggle to remain steady later when greater responsibility rests on your shoulders. Strength is not proven in constant motion. It is proven in self-control. When you hold still, you are declaring that fear does not command you. You are declaring that impatience does not rule you. You are declaring that you trust me enough to wait for my instruction. The declaration carries power in the unseen realm. Stillness also protects your peace. When you react too quickly, you often create consequences that disturb your heart. But when you wait for my leading, your actions align with clarity. Even if challenges arise, you will carry confidence because you moved in obedience rather than emotion. I am not raising you to be reactive. I am raising you to be discerning. I am not shaping you to be frantic. I am shaping you to be grounded. I am not teaching you to suppress your feelings. I am teaching you to master them. So do not despise this season of stillness. Do not measure your worth by visible productivity. Do not compare your quiet obedience to someone else's hurried movement. You are growing stronger than you realize. Every moment you choose trust over panic, you are building spiritual muscle. Every time you remain silent when you could lash out, you are increasing your capacity for wisdom. Every time you wait for my timing, you are stepping into a deeper partnership with me. Stillness is not the absence of power. It is power under my direction. And as you continue to hold still, you will discover that the strength forming within you is far greater than any frantic action could have produced. My beloved child, I know that silence can feel heavy. When prayers seem unanswered and signs feel absent, your heart begins to wonder if you have been overlooked. When days pass without visible change, when the situation remains the same, when the waiting stretches longer than you expected, a quiet fear can settle in. Have I been forgotten? Let me answer you clearly and tenderly. You are not forgotten. Silence is not abandonment. Stillness is not neglect. The absence of visible movement does not mean the absence of my presence. I am closer to you in this quiet season than you realize. I am not distant, watching from far away. I am near, steady, attentive to every detail of your life. There are moments when a loving father watches his child learn to walk. He does not always rush in at the first wobble. He allows space for growth. He remains nearby, ready to catch, ready to steady, ready to encourage. His silence does not mean he is uninterested. It means he trusts the process unfolding. My beloved, in this season, I am watching with care, not with indifference. You measure remembrance by activity. You think if I were working, you would see dramatic signs. But much of my faithfulness is quiet. It is in the breath you continue to take. It is in the strength that rises each morning even when you feel tired. It is in the doors that have not collapsed despite the pressure around you. You are not forgotten in the silence. You are being formed. Consider a seed planted deep in the soil. After it is buried, there is no visible proof of life. Days may pass with nothing breaking the surface. To the eye, it appears as though nothing is happening. But beneath the ground, transformation is occurring. The outer shell cracks. Roots begin to stretch downward. Strength develops in secret before growth becomes visible. If someone were impatient and dug up the seed to check on it, they would disrupt the very process meant to bring life. My beloved child, you are in that hidden stage of growth. I have not buried you to abandon you. I have planted you to establish you. What is happening within you right now matters more than what is happening around you. I see your tears that no one else sees. I hear the quiet prayers you whisper when you think no one is listening. I know the disappointments you carry in your heart. Nothing about your struggle escapes my attention. Every sigh, every doubt, every hope rising within you, I am aware of it all. You may look around and see others moving forward, receiving breakthroughs, stepping into new seasons. And you may ask, what about me? My beloved, I have not skipped your name. I have not misplaced your blessing. I have not confused your story with someone else's. Your timing is specific. Your journey is unique. Your growth cannot be compared. In silence, I am deepening your roots so that when your season of visibility arrives, you will not be shaken by winds that would have once uprooted you. In silence, I am teaching you to anchor your identity in my love rather than in outcomes. In silence, I am showing you that my presence is constant, even when circumstances are quiet. There is intimacy in silence. When noise fades, you begin to hear my whisper more clearly. When distractions fall away, you start to recognize how faithfully I have been carrying you all along. You are not forgotten when you feel unseen. You are not forgotten when answers delay. You are not forgotten when progress seems slow. I remember you in every moment. I remember your dreams. I remember your sacrifices. I remember your faith, even when it feels small. And I am working in ways that do not require spectacle to be significant. So do not interpret quiet as absence. Do not let silence convince you that I have stepped away. I am with you in this very breath. I am holding you in this very pause. You are known. You are seen. You are deeply remembered. And when the surface finally breaks and growth becomes visible, you will realize that the silence was never empty. It was full of my steady, faithful presence. My beloved child, this moment you are in right now is not ordinary. It is sacred. It may look like an ordinary day. The same walls, the same responsibilities, the same unanswered questions. But beneath what appears routine, something holy is unfolding. I have drawn you into this pause on purpose. You think you are simply listening to words, but I am inviting you into awareness. I am inviting you to recognize that this very breath, this very second, carries weight. You are not here by coincidence. You are here because I have been calling your heart to attention. Sacred moments are rarely loud. They do not always arrive with dramatic signs. Often, they come disguised as stillness, as interruption, as a quiet nudge that says, "Stop. Listen. Pay attention." That is what this is. There are crossroads in your life that do not look like crossroads. They feel like waiting rooms. They feel like uncertainty. They feel like nothing is happening. But in the unseen realm, decisions are forming. Character is deepening. Trust is being tested and strengthened. When I ask you to hold still, it is because the ground you stand on is holy ground. Not because of the place, but because of my presence with you in it. You are learning to hear me beyond noise. You are learning to value my timing above your urgency. You are learning that obedience does not always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like surrender. This moment demands your attention because it shapes what comes next. If you rush through it, you may miss the clarity I am releasing. If you treat it as insignificant, you may overlook the wisdom forming within you. Slow your thoughts. Let your heart quiet. Feel the sacredness of being held in my awareness. You are not just waiting. You are being aligned. You are not just pausing. You are being prepared. You are not just listening. You are being transformed. There are instructions forming in the quiet. Not loud commands, but gentle impressions. A shift in perspective. A release of old fear. A deeper confidence in my presence. These subtle changes will guide your next steps more securely than any frantic plan ever could. My beloved, treat this season with reverence. Guard it. Do not allow distraction to steal what I am planting. Do not allow impatience to uproot what I am establishing. This is a sacred exchange between you and me. And as you stand in this holy pause, I am calling you not only to receive, but to participate in something greater than yourself. Because as I speak to your heart, I am also reaching for many other hearts who feel the same urgency, the same fear, the same need to hold still. When you respond to this message, when you help it travel further, you become part of that sacred work. My beloved child, when you sow into this mission, you are not giving to a platform. You are lighting lamps in dark places. As it is written, give, and it will be given to you. And I speak that promise over you now as living truth. When you release your seed through Super Thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description, and even before your eyes in the QR code, you are opening rivers that carry my word to weary souls. Do not see it as a small act. See it as planting in fertile ground that produces eternal harvest. I am stirring your heart even now, inviting you to move in obedience, not hesitation. Let this be your sacred response to what I am doing in you. As you give, I bless your provision, I multiply your resources, and I establish your house in peace. Those who sow generously will reap generously, and I declare increase over every faithful hand. Do not delay when I nudge you. Act in faith. Become a partner in spreading my living word today. Now return your focus to the stillness. Let generosity flow from a heart that trusts me. This moment is sacred, and you are standing right in the center of it. My beloved child, there is a word that often unsettles your heart: surrender. You have been taught to fight, to strive, to defend your ground, to push forward with relentless determination. The world has told you that surrender means defeat, that if you let go, you will lose, that if you yield, you will be overtaken. But in my presence, surrender is not weakness. It is trust refined into action. When I ask you to surrender, I am not asking you to give up your dreams. I am not asking you to abandon hope. I am not asking you to shrink back from life. I am asking you to release the illusion that you must carry everything alone. Surrender is the moment you unclench your hands. It is the moment you stop gripping outcomes so tightly that your peace slips through your fingers. It is the moment you say, Father, I trust you more than I trust my own understanding. There is strength in that confession. Think of a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, the child grips the handlebars with fear, body tense, afraid of falling. The tighter the grip, the more unstable the ride becomes. But when the child relaxes and trusts the guiding hand nearby, balance becomes possible. My beloved, surrender is not letting go of direction. It is allowing my steady hand to guide you. You have been striving for answers. You have been striving for clarity. You have been striving for control over situations that feel unpredictable. And in your striving, you have grown weary. Your mind feels heavy. Your heart feels stretched thin. Yet you hesitate to surrender because you fear that if you do, everything will unravel. Listen carefully. Surrendering to me does not unravel your life. It aligns it. When you surrender, you move from self-reliance to divine partnership. You step out of panic and into peace. You exchange pressure for presence. You stop trying to force doors open and begin trusting that I will open the right ones at the right time. Surrender does not mean you become passive. It means you become attentive. It means you move when I lead and pause when I instruct. It means your actions flow from obedience rather than anxiety. My beloved child, you were never meant to carry the full weight of your future. You were never meant to calculate every possible outcome. You were never meant to control every variable. Those burdens were never assigned to you. When you refuse to surrender, you exhaust yourself trying to hold up what I am already holding. Imagine standing beneath a heavy sky, arms raised, attempting to push it upward as if the world's weight rests on you. Your muscles strain, your breath shortened, yet the sky remains unmoved. Now imagine lowering your arms and realizing it was never yours to hold. That is what surrender feels like. Is relief. Is release. Is rest. There is no shame in surrendering to me. There is only freedom. The strongest warriors know when to follow their commander's voice. The wisest leaders know when to seek counsel. The deepest faith is revealed not in frantic effort, but in confident trust. You do not prove your faith by controlling everything. You prove your faith by trusting me with what you cannot control. And I know it feels vulnerable. Letting go exposes your heart. It means admitting that you do not have every answer. It means stepping into uncertainty with confidence in my character rather than in guaranteed outcomes. But vulnerability with me is safe. I am not careless with what you place in my hands. When you surrender your plans, I refine them. When you surrender your fears, I calm them. When you surrender your timeline, I perfect it. My beloved, surrender is not the end of your strength. It is the beginning of deeper strength rooted in trust. It is not defeat. It is alignment with my wisdom. It is not losing control. It is recognizing that true security has always been found in me. So unclench your hands. Release the tight grip of anxiety. Lay your plans before me without fear. And discover that surrender is not falling. It is being caught. My beloved child, even when the world around you grows quiet, there can still be a storm inside you. Thoughts collide. Old memories resurface. Worries about tomorrow creep into today. You may sit in a silent room, yet feel as though thunder is rolling through your chest. I see that storm. I feel every tremor of it, and I am not intimidated by its intensity. The winds inside you did not begin overnight. Some of them have been building for years. Disappointments you never fully processed. Words spoken over you that left unseen scars. Moments when you felt overlooked or misunderstood. These experiences formed currents beneath the surface of your heart. And when pressure came, they rose all at once. You may have asked yourself, why do I react this way? Why does this situation shake me so deeply? My beloved, it is not because you are weak. It is because your heart has been carrying more than you realized. But hear me clearly now. I am calming the storm within you. I do not calm it by shouting over it. I calm it by entering it. Just as light does not fight darkness but simply shines, my peace does not wrestle with your anxiety. It settles over it. Imagine a lake disturbed by heavy wind. The surface becomes choppy. Reflections distort. You cannot see clearly into its depths. But when the wind dies down, the water smooths. The reflection returns. Clarity is restored. In the same way, when my peace rests on you, your thoughts begin to settle. The exaggerated fears shrink. The overwhelming scenarios lose their grip. My beloved child, peace is not something you manufacture. It is something you receive. You have tried to reason your way into calmness. You have tried to distract yourself from worry. You have tried to push emotions down so they would not surface. But true calm comes from trusting that you are held. Place your inner storm before me. Do not hide it. Do not filter it. Speak honestly about your fears, your confusion, your fatigue. I am not overwhelmed by your emotions. I am your safe place within them. Sometimes the storm persists because you keep replaying what hurt you. You revisit conversations, imagine different outcomes, rehearse arguments in your mind. Each replay stirs the water again. I am inviting you to release those rehearsals. Let me carry the weight of what was said. Let me handle what felt unfair. Let me be your defender. There are also storms fueled by fear of what has not yet happened. You project yourself into future disappointments, future losses, future failures. You grieve things that may never occur. My beloved, tomorrow does not belong to fear. It belongs to me. As you breathe in this moment, I am near. As you exhale, release what you cannot control. I am not asking you to deny your feelings. I am asking you to anchor them in truth. You are not alone. You are not unsafe. You are not forgotten. Let those truths sink deeper than the noise of anxiety. There is healing happening even now. The tightness in your chest will ease. The restless thoughts will slow. The heaviness will lift gradually as you choose to trust me again and again. Peace often comes in layers. It may not overwhelm you all at once, but it will steadily replace the chaos. And as it does, you will begin to recognize how strong you truly are, not because you avoided storms, but because you allowed me to calm them within you. My beloved, I am not only guiding your circumstances, I am restoring your inner world. I am strengthening your heart so that future winds will not shake you as deeply. Stay with me in this quiet. Let my presence settle over your thoughts like gentle rain on dry ground. Let it soften hardened fears. Let it wash away lingering tension. The storm within you does not define you and does not control you. It will not last forever. I'm speaking peace over you now, and as my peace takes root, you will feel the waters of your soul grow still once again. My beloved child, there is something you must understand deeply in this season. You cannot force what I have promised. What I have spoken over your life does not require your manipulation to come to pass. It does not depend on your anxiety, your striving, or your constant intervention. My promises are not fragile. They are not threatened by delay. They are anchored in my faithfulness. Yet I see how you try to help me. You try to arrange circumstances so that outcomes feel closer. You try to secure what you believe is yours before it slips away. You try to accelerate timelines because waiting feels unbearable. But in doing so, you exhaust yourself and complicate what I intended to unfold with grace. Imagine a seed planted in rich soil. After watering it once, would you dig it up the next day to check if it is growing? If you did, you would disturb its roots. Growth requires trust in what cannot yet be seen. It requires confidence that life is forming even when the surface looks unchanged. My beloved, my promises in your life are like that seed. They are alive. They are active. But they develop in stages. There is a difference between participation and control. I invite you to participate in obedience, in faithfulness, in preparation. But control belongs to me. When you try to force open a door I have not yet unlocked, you may strain the hinges. When you try to hurry a relationship I am still refining, you may introduce pressure that weakens it. When you try to seize an opportunity before its foundation is solid, you risk instability. Of course, it comes from fear. Fear that time is running out. Fear that someone else will take what you desire. Fear that if you do not act now, you will be forgotten. But my beloved child, what I have for you is not subject to competition. It is not vulnerable to being stolen by someone else's progress. It is not dependent on perfect timing by your standards. What I promise, I preserve. There have been moments in your life when you looked back and realized that what you once desperately wanted would not have sustained you if you had received it then. You were not ready. The circumstances were not ready. The timing was not aligned. What felt like disappointment was protection in disguise. You may be standing in a similar place now. You feel the urge to make something happen, to send the message, to initiate the change, to secure the outcome. And while action has its place, it must be rooted in my peace, not in panic. I am not slow in fulfilling my word. I am precise. The sculptor will not rush the chisel. Each strike is measured. Each detail matters. If the sculptor hurries, the form can be damaged beyond repair. In the same way, I am shaping your life carefully. The delays you resent are often the moments I use to refine character, strengthen patience, deepen humility, and align circumstances. If I gave you everything at the moment you first asked, you might not have the capacity to steward it wisely. You might hold it tightly out of fear rather than manage it with confidence. My beloved, trust the pace of my promises. There are seasons of planting, seasons of waiting, seasons of growth, and seasons of harvest. You cannot skip from planting to harvest in a single day. But when the harvest comes, it will be worth the patience. Release the urge to orchestrate outcomes. Release the temptation to control what is unfolding. Let your faith rest not in visible progress, but in my character. You cannot force favor. You cannot force alignment. You cannot force destiny. But you can trust. And when you trust, you position yourself to receive without straying. You position your heart to celebrate without regret. You position your life to flourish without collapse. My beloved child, what I have promised will arrive in its appointed time. Not rushed, not late. Perfectly aligned with who you have become in the waiting. So breathe. Loosen your grip. Let go of timelines you created in fear. What is meant for you does not need to be forced. It needs to be trusted. And I am faithful to complete what I have begun in you. My beloved child, what you have been calling delay is often my design. I know how it feels from your perspective. You mark the days. You measure the silence. You compare where you are to where you thought you would be by now. And quietly, you wonder why the timeline looks so different from the one you imagined. You see waiting as lost time. I see it as intentional shaping. There is an artist at work in your life, and I am not careless with my craft. When an artist paints, there are layers that must dry before the next can be applied. If the painter rushes the process, the colors blur, the texture weakens, the image loses depth. But when each layer is given time to settle, the final picture carries richness and clarity. You are in a layered season. There are qualities forming in you that cannot be rushed: patience, humility, resilience, discernment. These are not developed in comfort alone. They are strengthened in spaces where you must trust without immediate evidence. You may look at your circumstances and think, if this would just change, I could finally move forward. But sometimes the forward movement you long for requires inner growth first. If I shifted your outer world without completing my inner work, you might step into new opportunities with old patterns. Delay is not punishment. Delay is preparation. Consider a builder laying a foundation for a home. No one celebrates the foundation. It is hidden beneath the surface. It does not draw attention. But if it is weak, the entire structure is at risk. The builder takes time to ensure stability before raising walls. In the same way, I am strengthening the unseen parts of your life. You are becoming someone capable of sustaining what you have prayed for. If certain doors had opened earlier, you may not have been ready to walk through them wisely. If certain answers had arrived immediately, you may not have learned to lean on me as deeply. What you call delay has been my way of ensuring that when blessing comes, it rests on solid ground. My beloved child, design requires intention. Nothing in my plan is random. Even the pauses have purpose. Even the detours have direction. Even the waiting rooms are classrooms where quiet lessons shape your future. You do not see all the connections forming. You do not see how one closed door redirected you to a path that will matter later. You do not see how one disappointment preserved you from deeper regret. You do not see how one season of obscurity protected you from pressure you were not ready to handle. But I see it all, and I waste nothing. The timing of your life is not behind schedule. It is aligned with a wisdom greater than your own. You measure progress by speed. I measure it by readiness. If you rush a harvest before its time, the yield is smaller. If you remove bread from the oven too soon, it collapses. If you interrupt growth because it feels slow, you weaken the outcome. Trust that I am not withholding good from you. I am designing something better than what you could have arranged alone. There is beauty in the unfolding. There is strength in the waiting. There is wisdom in the pace. My beloved, release the frustration that says, "This should have happened by now." Release the comparison that tells you others are ahead. Release the fear that time is slipping away from you. Your story is not late. Your progress is not forgotten. Your future is not uncertain to me. What feels like delay is carefully structured design. I am positioning details you cannot yet see. I am aligning people, circumstances, opportunities, and growth in a way that serves your long-term good. One day, you will look back and recognize the wisdom of this timing. You will see how every pause contributed to the strength you now carry. You will understand why certain things had to unfold slowly. Until then, hold still. Let my design take shape without your interference. Trust that even when nothing seems to be happening, something beautiful is being built beneath the surface. And when the full picture emerges, you will realize that what you once called delay was always divine design. My beloved child, there is a mystery in obedience that you are only beginning to understand. You often associate breakthrough with action, bold steps, dramatic changes, visible movement. But there are moments when your greatest breakthrough is unlocked not by striving, but by stillness. When I ask you to hold still, and you obey, something shifts in the unseen. Obedience in quiet seasons builds spiritual authority. It strengthens your alignment with my voice. It declares that you trust me beyond what you can measure. That trust carries power far beyond what your eyes can see. You may think nothing is happening when you resist the urge to react. You may believe your obedience is small because no one applauds it. But heaven notices. The unseen realm responds to it. Every time you choose patience over panic, you are breaking patterns that once controlled you. Breakthrough does not always begin with noise. Often, it begins with surrender. Imagine a locked door that has resisted every attempt to force it open. You push. You strain. You grow frustrated. But the key has been in your hand the entire time. Obedience is the key. It does not require force. It requires trust. There are cycles in your life that are being broken because you are learning to respond differently. In the past, you may have reacted quickly, spoken impulsively, or acted from fear. But now, as you hold still, you are disrupting those patterns. You are choosing a new way. That choice unlocks breakthrough. Breakthrough is not only about external change. It is about internal freedom. It is about no longer being controlled by old habits, old wounds, old fears. It is about standing steady where you once would have stumbled. My beloved, when you obey me in stillness, You are strengthening your spiritual foundation. You are aligning yourself with my timing rather than your impulses. Alignment creates momentum in the unseen. Think of a river that has been blocked by debris. The water pressure builds quietly behind the obstruction. From the outside, it may appear stagnant, but when the blockage finally clears, the flow is powerful and unstoppable. Your obedience is building that pressure. It is preparing for a release that will come at the appointed time. You may not feel powerful right now. You may feel small in your waiting. But your quiet trust is not insignificant. It is shaping your future. Every time you say, "I will wait for your instruction," you strengthen your relationship with me. Every time you resist fear and choose peace, you deepen your faith. Every time you remain steady when others expect you to react, you grow in wisdom. Breakthrough often comes when you least expect it, not because you forced it, but because you positioned yourself for it. My beloved child, you are being prepared to step into something greater. And if I gave you that breakthrough without forming this discipline in you first, it might overwhelm you. But now, as you grow in obedience, you are becoming capable of sustaining what is coming. Stillness is not passive. It is intentional. It is a declaration that my voice carries more weight than your emotions. It is a statement that my promises are secure enough to wait for. There are blessings tied to obedience that cannot be accessed any other way. Not through striving, not through manipulation, only through trust. And I see your obedience. I see the messages you chose not to send. I see the arguments you chose not to engage in. I see the decisions you postponed because you sensed my leading to wait. None of it is wasted. Your breakthrough is not lost. It is forming. Continue holding still when I say wait. Continue moving only when I say move. Continue trusting that I am working beyond your sight. The door that seemed immovable will open. The clarity that felt distant will arrive. The burden that felt heavy will lift. And when it does, you will realize that your obedience and stillness was the very thing that unlocked it. My beloved child, there is something you must recognize clearly. The enemy thrives on your panic. Chaos feeds on fear. Confusion grows louder when you react without discernment. Panic clouds your vision and weakens your confidence. That is why I keep calling you back to stillness. Because panic is not your portion. When you panic, your thoughts scatter. You imagine worst-case outcomes. You magnify problems until they feel larger than my promises. In that state, you are more likely to make decisions that lead you away from peace. The enemy does not need to destroy you outright if he can simply rush you into misalignment. Panic is a tool of distraction. It pulls your focus away from my faithfulness and places it on temporary uncertainty. It convinces you that something must be done immediately, even when I have not spoken. It pressures you to solve what I am already handling. My beloved, I am not threatened by your circumstances. I am not anxious about your future. I am not scrambling to repair what feels unstable to you. If I remain steady, why would you believe that panic is necessary? Think of a shepherd leading sheep through a narrow valley. If one sheep panics and runs wildly, it can injure itself or stray into danger. But when it stays close to the shepherd's voice, it remains protected. The valley may look intimidating, but the shepherd knows the path through it. My beloved child, you are not navigating this alone. I am leading you. The enemy whispers that you must act now or lose everything. I whisper that what I have given you cannot be stolen by delay. The enemy suggests that your situation is spiraling beyond control. I remind you that I hold every detail in my hands. Panic often feels urgent because it appeals to your survival instincts. It makes your heart race and your mind speed up. But urgency does not equal truth. Just because something feels intense does not mean it is accurate. You have felt the pull to react sharply, to defend yourself quickly, to secure outcomes before they slip away. But ask yourself this: has panic ever truly produced peace? Has anxiety ever created clarity? Has rushing ever strengthened your foundation? Panic narrows your perspective. It traps you in the immediate moment and blinds you to the larger design. It magnifies temporary discomfort and minimizes eternal perspective. My beloved, calmness is not denial. It is authority. When you remain steady, you declare that fear does not rule you. When you pause instead of reacting, you deny panic its influence. When you choose trust over impulse, you weaken the grip of anxiety. The enemy thrives on emotional overreaction because it disconnects you from discernment. But when you hold still, you regain clarity. You hear my voice more clearly. You sense my direction more accurately. Consider a storm at sea again. A captain who panics during turbulence endangers the entire crew. But a captain who remains calm can navigate even rough waters safely. Your life is not meant to be steered by fear. My beloved child, you are stronger than panic. You are not fragile. You are not defenseless. You are covered. Even when circumstances appear uncertain, I am your stability. Even when others around you react emotionally, you can remain grounded. Even when pressure builds, you can breathe deeply and remember that I am present. Panic tries to convince you that everything depends on your immediate reaction. But I am reminding you that everything depends on my sovereign care. Release the need to respond to every disturbance. Not every voice requires your answer. Not every situation requires your intervention. Not every threat is as powerful as it appears. Stand firm. Let others rush if they choose. You remain anchored. Let fear shout. You listen for my whisper. The enemy may attempt to stir confusion, but he cannot override my authority. He may attempt to create urgency, but he cannot disrupt my timing. You are not required to panic to prove you care. You are not required to react to prove you are strong. Your strength is revealed in your steadiness. So hold still, my beloved. Deny panic its influence. Refuse to let fear dictate your next step. I am your defender. I am your strategist. I am your peace. And when you remain calm under pressure, you walk in a power that panic can never produce. My beloved child, before you think about tomorrow, before you revisit yesterday, before you attempt to solve anything at all, I want you to do something simple. Breathe. Totally. Deeply. Not the shallow breath of anxiety, but the steady breath of trust. You have been carrying tension in your body without even realizing it. Your shoulders tight. Your jaw clenched. Your thoughts racing ahead of you. Even in moments when you appear calm on the outside, there is a subtle strain within. I see it. And I am not asking you to pretend it is not there. I am asking you to release it into my presence. Breathe in. And as you do, remember that the very breath filling your lungs is a gift from me. It is a reminder that I am sustaining you even now. Breathe out. And as you exhale, release the need to control what you cannot manage. My beloved, I am right here. Not distant. Not distracted. Not preoccupied with someone else's story. I am present with you in this exact moment. The quiet you are sitting in is not empty. It is filled with my nearness. Sometimes you search for dramatic signs of my presence. You look for overwhelming emotion or extraordinary confirmation. But often, my presence is most powerful in simplicity, in breath, in stillness, in the quiet awareness that you are not alone. Imagine a child waking from a nightmare. The room is dark. Fear lingers in the air. The child's heart races until they sense a parent sitting beside them. The parent does not need to speak many words. Their presence alone brings calm. My beloved child, I am beside you like that. You may not always see me, but you can rest in my nearness. Breathe again. With each breath, let my peace settle deeper into you. Let it move through the places that feel tight. Let it soften the edges of your fear. Let it remind you that nothing in your life is unfolding outside of my awareness. You do not have to anticipate every possible outcome. You do not have to solve every problem tonight. You do not have to prepare for every scenario your mind imagines. Right now, all you need to do is remain. Remain in my presence. Remain in my peace. Remain in the truth that I am holding you. My beloved, I know how easily your thoughts drift toward what could go wrong. I know how quickly you replay conversations or project yourself into uncertain futures. But when you bring your focus back to this breath, to this moment, you anchor yourself in something steady. This is where faith grows, not in frantic playing, but in quiet trust. You are safe in this breath. You are sustained in this moment. You are loved without condition. The world may demand constant productivity from you. It may tell you that your worth is tied to your output. But in my presence, you are valued simply because you are mine. Let that truth calm you. When you feel overwhelmed again, and there may be moments when you do, return to this simple act. Breathe and remember that I am near. Breathe and remember that I am steady. Breathe and remember that I am faithful. You do not have to earn my closeness. You do not have to strive for my attention. I am already here. My beloved child, your life is not spiraling beyond control. Your future is not hanging by a fragile thread. You are held by hands that do not tremble. So breathe. Let the air fill your lungs as evidence that I am sustaining you. Let the exhale carry away tension you were never meant to carry. Stay here with me in this quiet assurance. I am right here, and I am not moving away. My beloved child, there are dangers you have never encountered because I stood between you and them. There are paths you almost took that would have led to heartbreak, but I quietly redirected your steps. There are conversations you were not invited into, opportunities that slipped away, plans that fell apart, and you mourned them, not realizing they were acts of protection. You often measure protection by visible rescue. You think of dramatic interventions, obvious deliverance, unmistakable miracles. But much of my protection is subtle. It happens in closed doors, in delays, in distractions that kept you from being somewhere at a certain time. You call it inconvenience. I call it safeguarding. My beloved, if I revealed every unseen threat I have already neutralized, you would understand how closely I guard your life. But you do not need to know every detail to trust my care. What you need is confidence in my character. Imagine a parent walking through a crowded street with a child. The child sees bright lights, interesting faces, inviting paths. The parent sees uneven pavement, approaching danger, unsafe corridors. The parent gently steers the child away from hazards the child never noticed. The child may resist at times, not understanding why they cannot go where they want. But the parent's perspective is wider. That is how I walk with you. You have questioned why certain relationships dissolved. You have wondered why certain plans failed despite your effort. You have felt disappointment when things did not unfold as you expected. Yet you could not see what I saw. You could not perceive the long-term cost of what seemed attractive in the moment. Protection does not always feel pleasant. Sometimes it feels like loss. Sometimes it feels like rejection. Sometimes it feels like silence. But my beloved child, I would rather allow temporary discomfort than permanent harm. There are battles I fight quietly on your behalf. There are influences I keep from reaching you. There are traps you never step into because I adjust your path before you arrive. You may never fully understand how often I intervene, but you can rest in knowing that I do. Even now, as you hold still, part of what I am doing is shielding you from consequences you cannot yet see. If you rushed forward in panic, you might collide with situations that are not aligned with your purpose. If you forced a door open, you might step into environments that drain your peace. Stillness gives me space to protect you more fully. My beloved, trust that when I restrain you, it is not to limit your life but to preserve it. Trust that when I say not yet, it is because timing carries weight. Trust that when something slips from your grasp, it may have been something I never intended for you to carry. Protection also means preparing you. I do not only shield you from external harm, I strengthen you internally. I build discernment within you so that you begin to sense what is healthy and what is not. I sharpen your intuition so you recognize peace versus pressure. You are not navigating blindly. I am guiding you carefully. And even when you step into challenges, you are not abandoned. Protection does not mean you will never face difficulty. It means difficulty will not destroy you. It means I walk with you through it. It means no situation is greater than my ability to sustain you. Release the belief that you must see everything to be safe. You do not need full visibility when you have my guidance. You do not need to anticipate every threat when you have my covering. My beloved child, you are more guarded than you know. You are more shielded than you realize. You are more cared for than you can measure. Let that truth quiet the fear that tries to convince you that you are vulnerable and alone. Hold still, not only because I am working, but because I am watching over you. Let my protection give you confidence. Let my unseen care give you rest. You may not see every danger I have turned away, but one day, when you look back over your life, you will recognize moments when something felt like loss, and later revealed itself as love. I am protecting you from what you cannot see, and I will continue to guard your steps as you trust me. My beloved child, I know you prefer clear answers and visible progress. You want to understand where you are going and how everything will unfold. You want assurance that the road ahead is stable and predictable. But the journey I am leading you on is not built on complete visibility. It is built on trust. Trust my process, not just my promises, not just my power, my process. Because the way I shape your life matters as much as the destination itself. You often focus on outcomes. You look ahead and imagine the moment when everything finally makes sense, when the waiting ends, when the breakthrough arrives. But you overlook the sacred work happening now. The shaping, the refining, the strengthening, the quiet adjustments in your character that prepare you for what you have asked for. My process is intentional. Think of a tapestry being woven. Thread by thread, color by color, I am crafting something intricate. From your position, you see only small sections at a time. Sometimes the colors look mismatched. Sometimes the patterns seem confusing. But I see the full design. I know how each thread connects to the next. If you pulled out a thread simply because it did not make sense to you, you would weaken the entire design. Trust that every experience, every joy, every delay, every challenge is part of something larger. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. Even what felt like a setback is being woven into strength. My beloved, I do not rush my process because depth cannot be manufactured overnight. If I gave you the finished product without the journey, you would lack the foundation to sustain it. You would celebrate the outcome but miss the wisdom that gives it meaning. You are becoming someone new through this process. More patient, more discerning, more grounded, more compassionate. The trials you have faced have softened your heart in ways comfort alone never could. The waiting has deepened your faith in ways immediate answers never would. You may not enjoy the process, but you will value its fruit. There are times when you look at your life and think, why is this taking so long? But length does not mean error. Growth often takes time because lasting change requires roots. A tree that grows too quickly may appear impressive at first, but its roots remain shallow. When strong winds come, it cannot stand. But a tree that grows steadily, patiently, unseen beneath the surface, develops roots that anchor it through storms. I am building roots in you. Roots of trust. Roots of resilience. Roots of wisdom. Trusting my process means surrendering the need to understand every step. It means believing that even when the path curves unexpectedly, it still leads somewhere purposeful. It means accepting that some lessons must be lived before they can be understood. My beloved child, you are not behind schedule. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are in motion, just not always in ways that are visible. When doubt tries to whisper that nothing is happening, remember how far you have already come. You are not who you were a year ago. You are not reacting the way you once did. You are not thinking the way you once thought. That is growth. Trust that I know how to lead you. Trust that I know how to refine you. Trust that I know how to complete what I have begun. Even when the road feels uncertain, I am certain. Even when you feel unsure, I am steady. Even when you cannot see the destination, I see the entire journey. My process may stretch you, but it will not break you. It may humble you, but it will not harm you. It may challenge you, but it will ultimately strengthen you. So do not rush ahead. Do not retreat in fear. Walk with me step by step. Let patience have its work in you. One day, when you stand in the fullness of what I have prepared, you will look back and realize that every delay, every detour, every hidden season was shaping you for that moment. Until then, trust my process. It is leading you somewhere beautiful. My beloved child, while you have been focused on what you can see, doors, opportunities, relationships, outcomes, I have been focused on something deeper. I have been strengthening your foundations. Foundations are rarely celebrated. No one applauds concrete being poured beneath the ground. No one gathers to admire beams hidden behind walls. Yet without them, nothing lasting can stand. And I am not building something temporary in your life. I am building something that will endure. You have asked me for greater things, greater influence, greater peace, greater stability, greater purpose. But greater weight requires greater strength beneath it. If I placed everything you desire on top of a weak foundation, it would crack under pressure. So I am reinforcing what cannot always be seen. There have been moments when you felt pressure increasing, challenges intensifying, responsibility stretching you beyond comfort. You wondered why life seemed heavier instead of lighter. But weight builds strength when it is applied with intention. Think of a builder constructing a home on rock rather than sand. Preparing the ground takes effort. It requires digging, clearing, leveling. It is not glamorous work. It is slow and deliberate. But once the foundation is secure, the structure can withstand storms. My beloved, I am anchoring you in truth so that when winds rise, you do not collapse. I am teaching you patience so that when delays come, you do not panic. I am cultivating discernment so that when choices appear, you recognize what aligns with my will. Strength is not formed in ease alone. It is developed through resistance. When you face uncertainty and choose trust, your foundation grows stronger. When you encounter disappointment and choose faith instead of bitterness, your structure becomes more stable. When you hold still in obedience rather than rushing in fear, you reinforce what lies beneath the surface. You may not always recognize this strengthening while it is happening. Foundations are built gradually, layer upon layer, reinforcement upon reinforcement. There are no dramatic announcements, just steady progress. My beloved child, you are more resilient than you realize. You have endured things that once would have shaken you completely. You have grown in ways that feel subtle but are significant. The storms that once overwhelmed you now teach you instead. That is foundation work. And understand this, I am not only strengthening you for this season, I am preparing you for what lies ahead. The blessings I have prepared for you carry responsibility. The doors I will open require wisdom. The influence you will walk in demands integrity. If I did not fortify your foundation first, success could become instability. Growth without grounding could become pride. Opportunity without maturity could become pressure. I care too much about you to let that happen. So if this season feels slower than you hoped, if progress seems hidden, if visible breakthroughs have not yet arrived, remember what is happening beneath your feet. I am building something that will last. And when the visible structure rises, when doors open and favor flows, you will stand firm because your roots run deep. Storms may still come. Challenges may still arise. But you will not be easily shaken. Not because life became easy, but because your foundation became strong. My beloved, do not despise this strengthening season. Do not compare your hidden growth to someone else's visible success. You do not know what lies beneath their surface. Focus on what I am building in you. Trust that every lesson, every delay, every moment of stillness is reinforcing something essential. You are not standing on fragile ground. You are being anchored in something solid. And when the winds blow, as they sometimes do, you will remain steady, not because of your own effort alone, but because I have strengthened your foundation with care. Hold still. Let me continue this work. What I am building in you will not collapse. It will endure. My beloved child, there is something sacred happening in your stillness that you may not fully recognize. When you choose to pause because I have asked you to, when you resist the urge to control and instead lean into trust, you are not merely waiting. You are worshiping. Worship is not confined to songs or spoken prayers. It is not limited to raised hands or quiet devotionals. Worship is the posture of your heart when you say, Father, I trust you more than my fear. Worship is obedience when obedience feels inconvenient. Worship is stillness when movement would be easier. Every time you hold still in faith, you are declaring that I am worthy of your trust. The world measures worship by outward expression. I measure it by inward surrender. Think of a child who does not fully understand a parent's instruction but chooses to obey anyway. That obedience speaks of trust. It says, I may not see what you see, but I believe you love me. That belief honors the parent deeply. My beloved, when you obey me in stillness, you honor me in that same way. There are times when I ask you to step forward boldly. There are times when I call you into action. But there are also times when I call you into restraint. Both require faith. Both require trust. Both are expressions of worship. Your stillness says, I believe you are working even when I cannot see it. Your stillness says, I believe your timing is wiser than mine. Your stillness says, I believe you are in control. These declarations rise like incense before me. When anxiety tempts you to rush and you choose peace instead, that is worship. When impatience presses against your heart and you choose to wait, that is worship. When others expect you to react but you remain steady in trust, that is worship. My beloved child, do not underestimate the spiritual weight of quiet obedience. It shifts atmospheres. It invites my presence more deeply into your circumstances. It aligns your heart with my will. Worship is not about performance. It is about relationship. And relationship grows in trust. In stillness, you learn to value my voice above noise. You learn to prioritize my peace above public opinion. You learn to measure success not by speed, but by alignment. You are offering me something precious when you hold still your control, your timeline, your need for immediate clarity. And I receive that offering with delight. There is freedom in worship. When you surrender outcomes to me, you release yourself from the burden of constant striving. When you trust my direction, you free yourself from the weight of comparison. Worship anchors you in truth. It reminds you that I am not distant. It reminds you that I am faithful. It reminds you that I am worthy of your confidence. My beloved, this season of stillness is not empty. It is full of sacred exchange. As you give me your trust, I give you my peace. As you release your control, I fill you with assurance. As you quiet your heart, I speak more clearly. You may not feel dramatic emotion in these moments. You may not sense overwhelming signs. But worship is not always loud. Sometimes it is as simple as choosing to remain where I have placed you, believing that I know what I am doing. Your stillness is not wasted time. It is devotion. It is faith in action. It is a declaration that I am enough. And when you worship in this way, quietly, faithfully, consistently, you draw closer to my heart. You begin to see my character more clearly. You begin to trust my process more deeply. So do not rush out of this season. Do not assume that waiting means inactivity. Recognize what is truly happening. You are honoring me with your trust. You are loving me with your obedience. You are worshiping me with your stillness. And I am near, receiving it with joy. My beloved child, I see the weariness you have tried to hide. I see how strong you have been for others. I see how often you have poured out encouragement while quietly running low yourself. You have given your time, your energy, your patience, your care. And somewhere along the way, you began to feel drained. Not broken, not destroyed, but depleted. There is a difference. You kept going even when your heart felt tired. You showed up even when your spirit felt thin. You carried responsibilities without always acknowledging how heavy they had become. And though you rarely complained, I noticed the subtle fatigue settling into your thoughts. My beloved, I am restoring what was drained. Restoration does not always begin with dramatic change. Sometimes it begins with permission to pause, with allowing yourself to admit that you are tired, with recognizing that strength is not the absence of need. You were never meant to be an endless source. You were meant to remain connected to me. Imagine a lamp plugged into a power source. As long as it remains connected, it shines steadily. But if it is unplugged and continues trying to shine on stored energy alone, it will eventually dim. My beloved, some of your exhaustion has come from trying to operate on yesterday's strength without reconnecting to me daily. I am inviting you back to that source. You do not need to prove your endurance to me. You do not need to hide your fatigue. I am not disappointed that you feel tired. I am compassionate toward it. Restoration begins in stillness. When you hold still, you create space for me to replenish what has been spent. Peace flows into places anxiety once occupied. Hope rises where discouragement lingered. Strength returns where weariness tried to settle permanently. There are areas of your life that have quietly drained you. Relationships that required more than they returned. Expectations that weighed heavily. Disappointments that chipped away at your optimism. You may have adapted to the exhaustion, telling yourself this is just how life is. But I did not design you to live perpetually depleted. My beloved child, I restore gently. Like rain falling on dry ground, I soak into the cracks you did not know were there. Like oil poured over worn wood, I soften what became brittle under pressure. Like cool water offered to someone thirsty, I satisfy what you struggled to name. You do not have to strive for restoration. You only have to receive it. Sometimes restoration looks like renewed perspective. The same situation that once overwhelmed you begins to feel manageable. Sometimes it looks like unexpected encouragement from someone at just the right time. Sometimes it looks like quiet confidence returning after a season of doubt. Do not underestimate small signs of renewal. They are evidence that I am at work. And hear me clearly. I am not only restoring your strength, I am restoring your joy. Exhaustion can dull joy. It can make you forget what once excited you. But as I replenish you, joy will return. Not forced, not artificial, but genuine. It will rise from within rather than being dependent on circumstances. My beloved, you have carried much, and now let me carry you. You have given much. Now allow me to give to you. You have endured much. Now rest in my presence. There is no shame in needing renewal. Even the strongest warriors must lay down their armor to recover. Even the most faithful servants must drink from the well. And I am that well. Hold still and let me restore you. Do not rush back into constant output. Do not measure your worth by how much you produce. You are valuable because you are mine, not because of how much you accomplish. Strength is returning. Clarity is returning. Hope is returning. I am breathing new life into the areas that felt drained. And as you continue to trust me in this season of stillness, you will rise not only rested, but renewed. What was drained will not define you. Restoration will. My beloved child, while you have been waiting for answers, something has been quietly forming. You have looked at the silence and assumed nothing was happening. You have measured the delay and wondered if clarity would ever come. But even now, the answer you seek is taking shape. Answers do not always arrive fully assembled. Sometimes they develop gradually, like dawn breaking over the horizon. At first, there's only a faint shift in the darkness. Then subtle light begins to spread. And before you realize it, what once felt unclear is illuminated. You are standing in that early light. The reason you do not yet see the full picture is not because I am withholding it. It is because timing matters. If I revealed everything too soon, you might misunderstand it. If I handed you the complete answer before your heart was ready, you might mishandle it. My beloved, the answer is not only about information. It is about transformation. While you have been asking, what should I do? I have also been shaping who you are becoming. Because sometimes the right decision becomes obvious only after your perspective shifts. Sometimes the path becomes clear when your fears quiet down. Sometimes clarity comes not from external signs, but from internal peace. You are closer than you think. There have been subtle changes within you. You are thinking differently than you once did. You are reacting more slowly. You are questioning motives more carefully. These are signs that wisdom is forming. Think of a sculptor chiseling stone. The final form does not appear in a single strike. It emerges gradually as pieces fall away. In the same way, I have been removing distractions, false assumptions, and unnecessary fears from your heart. As those fall away, the shape of the answer becomes clearer. You may still feel uncertain. You may still have questions. But uncertainty does not mean absence of direction. It simply means the process is still unfolding. Trust that I am guiding you step by step. The answer forming may not look like what you expected. Sometimes you imagine dramatic confirmation, unmistakable signs, overwhelming emotion. But often, my guidance comes as steady conviction, a quiet knowing, a settled peace that remains even when circumstances fluctuate. My beloved child, when the moment to act arrives, you will not need to force it. You will sense alignment. The tension that once surrounded the decision will ease. Fear will not dominate your thinking. Instead, there will be a calm assurance that says this is the way. Until then, remain patient. Do not try to manufacture clarity by overthinking. Do not rush toward a conclusion simply to escape discomfort. Let the answer mature. There are also external pieces still shifting, conversations still unfolding, hearts still softening, circumstances still aligning. You are not the only one involved in this story. I am working in places you cannot see, coordinating details beyond your reach. The answer forming is part of something larger than your immediate situation. And when it comes, it will fit not only your desire but your purpose. My beloved, I know waiting for answers can feel heavy. Questions linger in your mind. Possibilities pull at your attention. But let that weight remind you to lean into me. Let it draw you into deeper trust rather than anxious striving. You are not forgotten in your questioning. You are not overlooked in your searching. You are being prepared for understanding. Every day you choose stillness over panic. You position yourself to receive wisdom. Every moment you resist the urge to act impulsively, you allow clarity to develop more fully. The answer is forming even now. Do not interpret silence as denial. Do not confuse patience with abandonment. The light is growing, and soon, what once felt uncertain will become clear enough for you to step forward with confidence. Until that moment arrives, hold still. Stay attentive. Remain open. Because the answer you have been waiting for is not far away. It is unfolding with intention. My beloved child, I want you to hear this clearly so your heart does not misunderstand this season. You will move. This pause is not permanent. This stillness is not your final destination. There will be a time to act, a time to step forward, a time to embrace change. But not yet. Right now, I am shaping your readiness. It is easy to assume that waiting means stagnation. It is tempting to believe that because you are not visibly advancing, you are somehow falling behind. But stillness in my timing is not delay without purpose. It is positioning. Imagine an archer drawing back a bow. To the untrained eye, it may look as though the arrow is being pulled away from the target. But that backward tension is necessary for forward momentum. The greater the tension, the farther the arrow can travel when released. You are in that drawn-back moment. It may feel like you are being held in place while others move ahead. It may feel like opportunities are passing you by, but I am not withholding motion from you. I am preparing it. If you moved now, you might carry unresolved fear into the next season. If you acted now, you might bring old habits into new territory. If you stepped forward prematurely, you might build on ground that is not yet firm. You will move, but not yet. There is wisdom in restraint. There is power in waiting until the signal is clear. The farmer does not harvest before the crop is mature. The captain does not sail before the storm passes. Timing is not a small detail. It is everything. My beloved, you have grown in this stillness. You have learned to quiet your panic. You have begun to recognize my voice more distinctly. You have strengthened your foundation. All of this is preparation for movement. When the moment comes, it will not feel chaotic. It will not feel force. There will be peace attached to it. There will be alignment. The door will open without you having to break it down. The path will become clear without you having to invent it. You will not have to chase what I have ordained. I understand the impatience that sometimes rises within you. You are ready for change. You are ready for progress. You are ready to see tangible evidence that this season meant something. And you will. But do not let anticipation rob you of the lesson here. This pause is teaching you dependence. It is teaching you discernment. It is teaching you to value my instruction more than your impulse. Those lessons will guide you when movement begins. If you rush now, you may step into something incomplete. If you wait, you step into something prepared. There is a difference. My beloved child, trust that I know when to say go. I am not slow. I am intentional. I do not forget promises. I fulfill them at the appointed time. And when I say move, you will feel confidence rather than confusion. You will sense clarity rather than chaos. The fear that once pressured you to act will be replaced by assurance. Until then, resist the urge to create motion simply to escape discomfort. Resist the temptation to force change just to feel productive. Productivity without direction can lead you further from peace. Rest in this truth. I am not keeping you still to frustrate you. I am holding you steady to prepare you. Movement is coming. Opportunity is coming. Clarity is coming. But first, alignment must be complete. Let the bow remain drawn a little longer. Let the tension build strength within you. Let the lesson sink deep. When the release happens, it will be swift and purposeful. You will not remain here forever. But for now, remain. Hold still. Trust that when it is time to move, I will make it unmistakably clear, and you will step forward not with fear, but with confidence in my leading. My beloved child, in this world filled with constant sound, it is easy to mistake volume for authority. The loudest opinion often seems the most convincing. The strongest emotion can feel like the truest guide. The most urgent demand can appear to deserve immediate action. But I want you to understand something essential. My voice is quieter than the noise. I do not compete with chaos. I do not shout over confusion. I do not force my way into your attention. Instead, I speak in a steady whisper that requires stillness to hear. That is why I have been calling you to hold still. Not because I am silent, but because you cannot discern my direction while surrounded by constant internal and external noise. The noise comes in many forms. It comes through other people's expectations, and comes through social comparison. It comes through fear-driven thoughts repeating themselves in your mind. It comes through past experiences that try to define your present choices. All of it speaks loudly, and yet my voice remains calm. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded room where everyone is talking at once. The more you try to hear one clear voice, the more overwhelming the noise becomes. But if you step away from the crowd, if you move into a quieter space, suddenly one voice becomes distinct. My beloved, stillness is that quiet space. When you slow your thoughts, when you resist reacting immediately, when you breathe and bring your focus back to me, my voice becomes clearer. You may expect my guidance to feel dramatic or overwhelming, but often it comes as a gentle knowing, a subtle check in your spirit, a sense of peace or unease that guides your decision. My voice will not pressure you into panic. It will not shame you. It will not accuse you. It will not rush you into impulsive action. My voice brings peace even when the message challenges you. My voice may ask you to wait when others urge you to act. It may guide you toward forgiveness when pride urges you to defend yourself. It may lead you to step back when your emotions want to confront. Because my voice operates from wisdom, not from urgency. You have been conditioned to respond to noise. Alerts, opinions, headlines, expectations, all demanding your attention. But discernment grows when you learn to value the whisper more than the shout. My beloved child, you are capable of hearing me. You have already sensed moments when something felt right without obvious explanation. You have felt gentle restraint when you were about to speak hastily. You have felt quiet assurance when fear tried to overwhelm you. That was me. The more you practice stillness, the easier it becomes to distinguish my guidance from anxiety. Noise creates confusion. Stillness creates clarity. The enemy thrives in noise because noise keeps you reactive. But my presence thrives in quiet because quiet allows you to reflect, to listen, to align. You do not need to chase my voice. It is already near. But you must be willing to step away from the clamor long enough to recognize it. If a voice before you feels frantic, pressured, or fueled by fear, pause. My direction will not come wrapped in chaos. It will come with peace. My beloved, let stillness become your refuge. Let it be the place where you recalibrate your heart. Let it be the space where you silence competing voices and lean into mine. The world may continue to shout. Opinions may continue to swirl. Circumstances may continue to shift. But my voice remains steady. And when you learn to value the quiet whisper above the loud noise, you will walk with greater confidence, greater clarity, and greater peace. Hold still. Listen closely. I'm speaking. My beloved child, while you have been focused on your own waiting, I have been working in the lives of others. You are not the only piece in this story. There are hearts I am preparing, paths I am adjusting, conversations I am orchestrating that will intersect with yours at the right time. You may feel alone in this season. You may wonder why certain people drifted away or why new connections have not yet formed. But understand this. I am aligning divine connections for you. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some were seasonal. Some were lessons. Some were stepping stones. When those relationships shifted, it may have felt like loss. But I was protecting your future alignment. If someone walked away, it does not mean you were unworthy. It means their part in your journey had reached completion. And now, I am positioning the right people for where you are going. Imagine two roads stretching miles apart, slowly curving toward each other. The travelers on those roads may not even know the other exists. Yet with every step, they are moving closer to a meeting point designed long before they began walking. That is how I align connections. You cannot force them. You cannot manipulate them into existence. You cannot rush their timing. but you can trust that I am preparing them. There are individuals who will understand you in ways others did not. There are partnerships that will feel effortless because they are rooted in shared purpose. There are mentors, friends, collaborators, and companions whose arrival will confirm that this waiting season was not wasted. But timing matters. If you met certain people before you were ready, you might not recognize their value. If they encountered you before you had grown through this season, the connection might lack the depth it was meant to carry. Alignment requires maturity on both sides. So while you hold still, I am shaping you. And while you hold still, I am shaping them. My beloved, do not chase relationships out of fear of being alone. Do not cling to connections that no longer carry peace. Trust that what is ordained for you will not miss you. When divine alignment occurs, there is confirmation. There is clarity. There is mutual growth rather than constant strain. You have experienced connections that drain you, that required constant proving, that left you questioning your worth. Those were not reflections of your value. They were misalignments that revealed what you truly need. Now, as I reorder your life, I am also reordering your circles. There are conversations being prepared. There are introductions being arranged. There are opportunities tied to people you have not yet met. But you must remain patient. If you rush ahead in loneliness, you may settle for companionship without alignment. If you act from desperation, you may entangle yourself in partnerships that distract rather than strengthen you. Trust that I am a master of orchestration. I know how to bring lives together at the precise moment when both are ready. I know how to close doors that would have led you astray. I know how to open doors that feel effortless and right. My beloved child, you are not walking toward your future alone. Even now, others are being shaped by their own seasons of waiting, preparing to intersect with yours. When the timing is right, the meeting will feel natural. The collaboration will feel supported. The relationship will feel balanced. And you will recognize that this period of stillness was not isolation. It was preparation for alignment. So hold still a little longer. Let me finish aligning the details. Let me prepare the connections. Let me arrange the intersections. Because what I bring into your life next will not be random. It will be intentional. And it will confirm that my timing is always worth the wait. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you whisper quietly in your heart, why? Why this delay? Why this silence? Why this interruption to the plans you so carefully laid out? You have tried to understand it from every angle. You have examined your choices, replayed your steps, searched for mistakes. And still, the full answer feels just beyond reach. But hear me gently now. This pause will make sense soon. Not everything is meant to be understood in the moment it is experienced. Some revelations require distance. Some clarity only comes when you can look back and see how the pieces connected. Right now, you are standing too close to the canvas to see the full picture. Imagine reading a single chapter of a story without knowing the ending. Certain events may seem unnecessary. Certain twists may feel frustrating. But when you finish the book and look back, you realize every chapter had purpose. Every detail contributed to the resolution. Your life is not a random collection of chapters. It is a story I am carefully writing with you. The pause you are in now is not filler. It is not wasted space. It is a necessary page in the narrative. There are lessons you are absorbing that will equip you for future conversations. There are strengths forming in you that will steady you during future responsibility. There are insights developing that will guide you when others look to you for wisdom. Right now, you may only see interruption. Soon, you will see intention. My beloved, when clarity comes, it often arrives quietly. One day you will wake up and realize you are grateful something did not happen when you thought it should. You will recognize that a closed door protected you from a path that would have drained you. You will see that a delay preserved you from unnecessary pain. But you cannot rush that understanding. Understanding unfolds in its own time. Trust that I am not confusing you on purpose. I am cultivating patience. I am teaching you to walk by faith rather than by immediate explanation. There is maturity in trusting without full visibility. You are growing into someone who does not need constant proof to believe in my goodness. You are becoming someone who can remain steady even when details are unclear. That growth matters more than immediate comprehension. My beloved child, this pause is shaping perspective. It is expanding your capacity to see beyond the surface. It is refining your expectations so that they align more closely with my wisdom. Soon, patterns will connect. Soon, decisions will make sense. Soon, you will look back and see how each delay, each redirection, each moment of stillness contributed to something greater than you imagined. For now, you must trust before you understand. That is faith. It does not mean you ignore your questions. It means you bring them to me rather than letting them erode your trust. Ask me your why. Jürgen Vuyen. I am not offended by your curiosity, but allow your questions to coexist with confidence in my care. The dawn does not break all at once. It unfolds gradually until the darkness fades completely. In the same way, clarity will rise in your life. This pause will not remain mysterious forever. It will become meaningful. And when it does, you will carry a deeper gratitude for this season. You will realize that what once felt like stagnation was actually preparation. What once felt like delay was protection. What once felt like silence was shaping you. Hold still a little longer. Meaning is forming. Understanding is approaching. And soon, you will see that this pause was never random. It was purposeful all along. My beloved child, in the middle of all this waiting, all this shaping, all this unseen work, there is one truth I want to anchor deep within your heart. You are safe in my hands. Not partially safe, not temporarily safe, completely held. I know the world does not always feel secure. Circumstances shift. People change. Opportunities rise and fall. News travels fast and fear travels faster. It can seem as though everything around you is fragile. And when life feels unstable, your heart searches desperately for something firm to stand on. That firmness is me. You are not balancing on a thin line above chaos. You are not hanging by a thread. You are not one mistake away from collapse. You are held by hands that do not tremble. Imagine a small child falling asleep in a moving car, completely unaware of traffic, weather, or direction. The child rests because they trust the driver. They do not monitor every turn. They do not calculate every risk. They simply rest in the knowledge that they are cared for. My beloved, I am inviting you into that kind of rest. You do not have to oversee every outcome. You do not have to predict every possibility. You do not have to prepare for every imagined disaster. You are safe in my hands. Safety does not mean you will never face difficulty. It means difficulty will not have the final word. It means no circumstance can separate you from my care. It means that even when you walk through uncertainty, you are not exposed. You have survived seasons you once thought would break you. You have walked through valleys you did not know how you would cross. And yet, here you are. Sustain, strengthen, still standing. That is not accident. That is my hand. Sometimes you mistake vulnerability for danger. You think that because you feel uncertain, you must be unsafe. But feeling uncertain does not mean you are undetected. It simply means you are human. And being human in my hands is not a weakness. It is a relationship. My beloved child, let this truth quiet your racing thoughts. You are not navigating this life alone. I am not observing from a distance. I am actively holding you. When fear tries to convince you that everything could fall apart, remember that I am the one holding the structure together. When anxiety suggests that you are exposed, remember that I am your covering. When doubt whispers that you must fend for yourself, remember that I am your defender. You do not need to grip life tightly to stay secure. You can rest. Rest in my promises. Rest in my faithfulness. Rest in my strength. Even when you do not see the full path ahead, you are guided. Even when you do not understand the timing, you are positioned. Even when you feel small, you are valued. My hands are not careless. They are steady. They are strong. They are gentle. They hold you when you are confident and when you are afraid. They support you when you feel capable and when you feel weak. Nothing you face surprises me. Nothing you encounter overpowers me. Nothing in your future lies outside my awareness. You are safe not because life is predictable, but because I am faithful. So release the tension you have been carrying. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Let your heart settle into this assurance. You are not alone in the storm. You are not lost in the waiting. You are not forgotten in the silence. You are safe. And as you continue to hold still, you will begin to feel that safety more deeply. It will anchor you. It will steady you. It will carry you forward into whatever comes next. Because my hands do not let go, and you are resting right within them. My beloved child, you have been holding still. You have been learning to trust. You have allowed me to quiet your fears, strengthen your foundation, and restore what was drained. And now, while you remain in the sacred pause, I am asking you to prepare your heart for what comes next. Preparation does not always look like movement. Sometimes it looks like expectation. Sometimes it looks like quiet readiness. Sometimes it looks like aligning your thoughts with hope instead of doubt. You have grown accustomed to bracing yourself for disappointment. After waiting for so long, part of you has learned to protect your heart by lowering expectations. You tell yourself not to hope too much, not to anticipate too boldly, so that if things do not unfold as you desire, the pain will be smaller. But my beloved, I am not preparing you for disappointment. I am preparing you for movement. Not frantic movement. Purposeful movement. And your heart must be ready to receive it. Imagine a field that has been resting through winter. The soil appears dormant. Nothing visible is growing. But beneath the surface, nutrients are being restored. When spring approaches, the farmer does not ignore the field. He prepares it. He loosens the soil. He removes debris. He positions it for planting. In the same way, I am loosening areas of your heart that have become tight with fear. I am removing debris from old disappointments. I am restoring your capacity to believe again. Preparation means letting go of the belief that you will always be in waiting. It means releasing the identity of someone stuck or delayed. It means opening your hands to receive what I have been forming. My beloved child, the season ahead will require courage, not because it will be chaotic, but because it will require you to step forward when I say move. And if your heart is still entangled in fear, you may hesitate when opportunity arrives. So prepare now. Strengthen your trust. Deepen your confidence in my voice. Remind yourself of how faithfully I have carried you this far. There is a difference between forcing doors open and being ready when they open naturally. I am not asking you to chase the future. I am asking you to align yourself with it. Preparation also means forgetting what needs to be forgiven, releasing what needs to be released, letting go of resentment that could weigh you down when it is time to walk forward. You cannot step into new seasons while holding tightly to old burdens. You cannot embrace new blessings while clinging to past wounds. I am not rushing you. I am readying you. There will come a moment when clarity settles fully into your spirit. A moment when peace confirms what I have been whispering. A moment when the path ahead no longer feels obscured. When that moment comes, I want you to step forward with confidence, not hesitation. You are not being prepared for something small. You are being prepared for something aligned, something intentional, something that reflects the growth you have experienced in this stillness. My beloved, do not shrink back when movement begins. Do not doubt your readiness. The same me who asked you to hold still will be the one who says, "Now go." And when I say go, you will not be alone. The strength you built in stillness will carry you. The discernment you developed in silence will guide you. The peace you learned to value will anchor you. So while you remain here for a little longer, prepare your heart. Let hope rise gently. Let expectation replace fear. Let anticipation grow quietly. You have not waited in vain. You have not trusted in vain. You have not grown in vain. What comes next will reflect everything I have been building in you. Hold still a little longer, but lift your eyes, because the season ahead is drawing closer, and you are being prepared to walk into it with steady, confident faith. My beloved child, you have walked with me through this sacred pause. You have listened as I called you to hold still. You have allowed me to calm your fears, strengthen your foundation, restore what was drained, and prepare your heart for what is ahead. And now, as we stand at the close of this moment together, I want you to carry one truth above all others. Holding still was never weakness. It was trust. You thought you were waiting, but you were growing. You thought you were delayed, but you were being designed. You thought you were hidden, but you were being protected. Every moment of stillness shaped you. Every breath of surrender aligned you. Every act of obedience strengthened you. And now you stand not fragile, not forgotten, not behind, but anchored, prepared, and secure in my hands. Remember this always. When I say hold still, it is because I am moving on your behalf. When I ask you to wait, it is because I am arranging what you cannot see. When I quiet your steps, it is because I am establishing your future. You are not leaving this season empty-handed. You are leaving it with deeper trust, clearer discernment, stronger faith, renewed peace. And as you continue forward, whenever fear tries to rush you, return to this truth. I am your refuge. I am your timing. I am your defender. I am your guide. My beloved, if this message has settled into your heart, if it has strengthened your spirit, then know this. I am using it to reach many other weary hearts as well. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description and shown in the QR code, you are not supporting a channel. You are advancing my word into places that are desperate for hope. As it is written, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days, and I speak that promise over you now as living truth. When you give, you are planting seeds of stillness and faith into souls who are on the verge of giving up. I am stirring you even now to act with bold generosity. Do not hesitate when I nudge your heart. What you release in faith, I multiply in ways you cannot foresee. I bless every hand that gives with provision, protection, and peace. Let your giving be a prophetic act that says, I trust you, Father. Step forward and sow today. And now, my beloved child, I release this blessing over you. May your heart remain steady when the world feels loud. May your mind return quickly to peace when fear tries to rise. May your steps be guided clearly when it is time to move. May you always remember that you are safe in my hands. Hold still when I say wait. Move boldly when I say go. Trust me in every season. I am with you. I am for you. I will never leave you. Amen.